Welcome to my Sales Insight podcast, and I'm your host Manik Senanayake. And today we are going to talk about how to run a no bullshit sales meeting. Sales meeting is part of the job description of any sales personnel. It's one of the most important and fundamental elements in a salesperson's career. You cannot avoid it. You just have to confront it and endure it and derive the maximum possible to enhance your sales career. It is not only a tool to assess your sales performance, but it is also, if applied properly, is a great retooling opportunity to enhance your skill levels and go on to have magnificent sales careers. No arguments there. Sales meetings are here to stay, but if it is not done properly, it could be one of the biggest time wasters in any office culture. How many times we have been to meetings, we feel that it's dragging for so long, and today, sales meeting is a routine exercise for scrutiny and review of salesman's performance, and is often projected as an interrogation where people feel very uncomfortable. ප්‍රශ්නාත්මක විභාගයක් වගේ පසුබිමක් හැඟීමක් එන්නේ sales meeting එකක් ගැන හිතනකොට. It's probably because over a period of time, the objectives and probably the feedbacks that are associated with sales meeting has been very negative. Negative vibes and negative connotations are associated with sales meetings today. As a result, people dread going into sales meetings. They no longer look forward for sales meeting, or if possible, try and avoid that. So whenever there's a sales meeting around the corner, which is usually end of the month or bi-weekly, there's a sense of anxiety and levels of stress hormone cortisol increases. And people are driven by fear when they attend sales meeting every week. කවුරුත් කැමැත්තෙන් නෙවෙයි sales meeting වලට යන්නේ. කිසිම ඉදිරිපත් වීමක් පෙන්වුම් කරන්නේ නැහැ. So how does a typical sales meeting is run today? Of course, there are going to be variation based on the scale as well as type of product or service you offer. But usually a sales meeting is made known way in advance, usually end of the month. But one thing for sure that dominates every single salesperson's mind, which is the month's target and also the cumulatives. Unfortunately, the guy who runs the sales meeting, usually a sales head or your sales reporting authority or DGM or regional head, also have one thing in mind, which is the sales target for that month. So what happens? Usually an authority figure who runs the sales meeting, or your sales head or regional head or DGM, will put or present in a PowerPoint or an Excel sheet the month's performance. And usually the ones who are behind target will be questioned in terms of why, reasons for their poor performance, and for which every month the usual stories or the justifications and excuses will be provided by sales executives or managers in terms of why they are behind their targets, for which the sales head would probably reply, you can't go on like this. Somehow you have to meet the sales target next month. Not only that, you have to meet the cumulative target as well by next month. The guy is behind on his cumulative 2 months, but he wants to somehow meet it by next month. Sounds familiar? Sad reality is that even a 10-year-old boy could do the same thing. Just get him kitted up, make him sit in middle of the boardroom in the most prominent chair and shoot those statements. Because those statements doesn't have any value. There's nothing the sales team can derive from those statements. And sometimes you find 10 to 20 minutes spent on single individual, drilling him in terms of his poor performance. And depending on the state, sometimes the sales head would probably make this nice, beautiful statement. If you continue to go on like this, you have to find another job. Basically, මෙහෙම කරගෙන ගියොත් වෙන job එකක් හොයාගන්න එක හොඳයි. And this particular statement is repeated most likely at the end of the full sales meeting as the key takeout. So this form of intimidation and fear-based tactics are used to drive sales through fear, and which is not the way sales meetings should be run in today's context. So just let us review in such a situation. Is the objective and the purpose of the sales meetings achieved? Well, if the object is to instill fear and drive intimidation, I'm sure it has. Let's take a step back and review what's the mindset of someone who is behind his monthly sales target going into a sales meeting. Usually, any sales meeting should be a progressive transfer of certainty, meaning anyone who is going into a meeting and coming out, he should be more inspired and looking forward for the next month. But here, when statements such as you're going to lose your job, and when the next month comes and when he goes into planning for the next month, any form of creativity and innovation is thrown out, and that is being replaced by sense of insecurity and fear and intimidation. And that's not a good place to be in. So let's look at how a sales meeting should be run in today's context. I have this abbreviation called AIM. A stands for accountability, I is inspiring, and M is for method, means, or measures for the future. Acknowledging where you are and accept and taking responsibility is a key component in your sales career. So you need to figure out where are the pain points and look for new ways to enhance your skill set. And that's accountability and self-realization is a must. And this cannot be achieved through driving fear into the salespeople. Because at the end of the day, millennial sales force, the mindset, what triggers them, you need to manage them very, very diplomatically. Otherwise, you lose them to a competition. Today's competitive construct warrants sales leadership to take a much more mature role. They are expected to provide direction, leadership, wisdom, and absolute value creation so that the sales force can enhance their skill level to somehow catch up on the deficits and make the year-end sales target. And there also has to be key takeaways in every single sales meeting, which has to be progressive, which would enhance their sales trajectory. And sales meetings also can be viewed as a moment to celebrate. Here you can invite the high performers or the high achievers to share their success stories, what sort of skills and tools they use in the last month. And also at the same time, while highlighting and respecting and acknowledging the top performers, you should never ever highlight the deficiencies or the mediocre or low performers. In fact, you can also ask at the same time the lower or the mediocre performers to come and share their challenges, their roadblocks, where in the sales or the pipeline they have challenges that they need help. So it's a collective learning environment. Others can pitch in and help them out. What happens is the mindset for these people, they feel a sense of belongingness. They feel that there's a support system. And they're not going to no longer withhold information. There's going to be transparency. And that's the kind of mentality and the camaraderie that you want to achieve in a today's sales meeting. So the onus to transform the perceptions as well as all the negativity attached to sales meeting today is with the guy who runs the sales meeting, usually the sales head. He can create the culture of positivity, growth, progressiveness, camaraderie, and also gain respect and appreciation. You can also invite way in advance sales personnel to nominate what sort of new segments that they want to incorporate into the agenda so that there is appreciation and buying in, acknowledgement at lower level. Wrong. Sense of competition rivalry is a must in any sales gathering. What's called peer pressure is a sign of highly driven, energetic, and very competitive and progressive sales unit. But the overall reason to be there has to be a positive one. So in one extreme, sales meeting should not be a fun-filled entertainment event. At the same time, it should not be a fault-finding interrogation. It has to be a much more purpose-driven, focus with specific outcomes, which not rely on just only on numbers, but about taking a long-term view that is progressive. Elon Musk, American entrepreneur, owner of Tesla, SpaceX, and SolarCity, he would do everything possible to minimize the number of people that will attend his sales meeting. Not only that, he has given the free will to any of his sales meeting members to leave the sales meeting if they feel, even without being excused, if they feel that they are not going to add anything or they are not going to gain anything from that meeting. This is the extent to which they value other people's time. So let's look at what are the obvious house rules to conducting a sales meeting today. First up would be starting on time. If you can finish on time, that will be really good because it's not easy, because that will set a precedent. Avoid repeating the same statement over and over again, which we have experienced so many times. Stick to the agenda timelines on each topic. Again, something which we have experienced so many times, going over topic over time. Avoid rhetoric and deviations from the main theme and the objectives. Announce ahead of time the agenda and topics to be covered, so there are no surprises. Everyone is in the loop in terms of the expectations. Humor is good, but if it is done tastefully, not at the expense of one or two. I have gone to meetings where people have a good laugh at the expense of one or two, especially the poor performers. And don't spend too much time on one slide. Basically, you could start the meeting by breaking the ice. Even if you have a bad month, you don't have to take it out from the sales force, because that will intimidate the high performers. You can still have a small icebreaker. Start with a small humor so that positive energy is created. What's done is gone. You need to inspire them for the next month. So finally, let's look at what are the typical steps in conducting a sales meeting today. Number one would be performance review. Recognize the results. Focus on the key aspect. Don't spend too much time on any particular individual, but look at the long-term view. Number two would be share highlights for the month. Invite the best performers to share their success stories. At the same time, get the guys who are behind their targets to share what their pushbacks or challenges are. So there's a learning environment that is being created. Number three would be review of sales pipeline. Assess your sales pipeline hygiene. Where in the pipeline you feel there are certain customers stuck. What can be done to move there? What are the big ticket items? Number four would be training or development areas. It could be interpersonal or sales related. Either the sales head can nominate, or you can actually get the sales team to nominate what's pain areas or skill levels they need to acquire for the coming months. Finally, sharing of goals and big ideas for the coming month. If there are marketing activities or promotional plans, you can share here, and also talk about the challenges and the trends and the competitor activities. Here, another important factor is you should also make it a point to acknowledge those performers who have really worked hard, has done an amazing sales effort, but behind their target. So they must have used a lot of creativity, innovation, and you need to highlight them even if they are behind their target. There could have been instances where certain sales people would have hit the target because they have some solid clients, but the sales effort and the creativity and the innovation that has been put by others need to be recognized, so that gives confidence them to continue with their good work. So overall, you can finish the meeting on a positive note, look forward, inspire them. Hope this helps in creating a more effective sales meeting with your teams next time around. And I'm sure if you get it right, sales meeting will be an impatient to look forward event in every salesperson's calendar. And that's the kind of mindset that we want to create. Yes, Manik, thank you for joining me in this podcast. Please subscribe to my channel, The Sales Target, for more sales insight and reminding you it's time we stop selling and start closing. See you soon.